All right, we're live. So here we are in Duluth, Minnesota. It's my first time being here. Welcome to the line, gentlemen. And we're at the Better in Our Backyard event, their 5th annual dinner. And you guys are my first guests on the line at this event. I recently have talked with both of you, and I quite enjoy sitting down having conversations with you guys. And I think that one of the things that makes our conversations good is you guys care and you're real. So I just appreciate that you're willing to sit down with us here, and you're here at this event promoting it. Keaton, you're actually the keynote speaker here.
I am.
So tell me a little bit about why you're investing your time to come here and talk.
That's a great question. I think first and foremost, I'm hoping no one throws anything at me during my speech tonight.
Are you going to duct tape Thomas's hands together?
I might need him as a shield.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an unpopular topic, to be honest with you, and I don't think it's a topic that anybody's really touching on. And it's about being more loud and more proud about our industry.
Yeah.
And you ask why I come up here. First, I'm a huge fan of what Ryan is doing.
Yeah.
The fact that he has created this thing in 5 years, basically single-handedly by himself.
It's really impressive.
I'm just a huge fan of talent. So, when I see talent like that, I want to go be a part of it and appreciate it and just be close to it. And so for me, it was an easy yes. He didn't have to ask twice or beg or anything like that. And I also think it's my duty and obligation. I think more CEOs, more leaders, more mid-level managers need to be loud and proud and use their voice.
Yeah.
So.
Thomas, so you're here, and you're involved in Turner Staffing as well.
Yep.
So you're involved in the mining industry and many others.
Yes.
Well, why is it so important for people around the country? We were talking a little bit earlier. What is it that people need to kind of get their head in the game and realize what's going on? Why is that? What's going on there?
Yeah. And you know this as well as anybody because you travel quite a bit. But, the conversations that people are having are just unaware. You could even say naive, right?
Yeah.
People don't actually think about where things come from, whether it's the mug that's sitting in front of me,
right?
The clothes we wear, the cars we drive. It's a shame that people don't pay enough attention to the supply chain. And I think people have a lot of misperceptions of how things end up inside their home, right? And hopefully, as we were talking about a little bit earlier as well, we can start to change that conversation where we can actually be providing educational material. We can actually be getting out in front of people and actually having a real conversation and being honest about the pros and cons to everything we do. And so obviously we're super bullish on mining in America.
No kidding.
It is
Didn't
it is what we believe is important for us. It's important for our country. It's frankly important for our population, right? And so I think this and Keaton doing this event it's just a great way to lean into that even further.
I read something recently about there's like 7 million young men that are currently not in the workforce. And when you look at all of the resources, we're here in Duluth, and they have what's called the Duluth Complex. And it's not a bunch of office buildings in an office park, but it's one of the largest masses of mineable material in the world. And I think to myself, all of those people, like, what would it look like, Keaton, if Turner Mining and Better in Our Backyard, if there was more mining here in the United States, how many more people could we actually bring into not just a good life, but a good living, a good everything?
Yeah. Well, I think first and foremost, the stat you just read, 7 million young men, I'd say it's more like 7 million young boys, because if you're not in the workforce, like now is the time. This is a once in a generation opportunity, in my opinion, to do something amazing in an industry like mining. There's several other industries, blue collar industries, where you can go make $150. I just talked to a guy the other day, mine manager, making $250,000 a year.
What?
No MBA, no master's degree. He's got a bachelor's degree. He's been in the industry 18, 19 years. That's out there. Nobody knows about it. And so these kids, young men, they can't support what they don't know. No one is talking about $250,000 salaried roles in mining. And I think if people were talking about it, people were transparent and authentic and real, I think you get a lot more young men, young women, quite frankly, interested in mining.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, Thomas, we're going to kick you out. Yep. It's been 5 minutes. I really enjoyed this. If you can go tell Ryan to go get his butt over here. And Keaton is obviously here with Turner Mining Group, and he's your keynote speaker at tonight's event.
Yep.
I just would like to know, Ryan, why Keaton? Why did you reach out to him?
I just really like his branding strategy, both for Turner Mining and for his personal brand. And I just like how loud he is in a very respectful way, but he's just good at beating the drum and getting people talking. I mean, even just this past month, what have you been calling this series? Like day 1 of 30 or day 2 of 30?
Yeah. The Per Diem podcast.
Yeah, the Per Diem podcast.
How much did he pay you to say that here? He wanted to get that out, that plug.
Free advertising.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't want to share that, but no. I mean, just things like that. I mean, he just takes action very quickly. He's not afraid to try new things, and I just admire that a lot about him. And I just think it's healthy for the industry.
I think that's something in our industry as a whole, whether it's mining or just skilled trades across the board. We're very humble, but to a fault, like to the point where we don't want to talk about things. And I don't know about you guys, but when I got into the industry, it was like, well, you don't talk about that. You don't talk. No, we don't talk about that. We don't and one of the things that you do is you actually brought cameras onto a mine, which I don't know anybody that did that before. Not in a way that, definitely not in a way that you do it. I mean, you probably don't want me to talk about the haul truck that caught fire and was burning, but we won't talk about that.
No, that was, I posted about it, and I've gotten my balls kicked in a ton for bringing cameras on sites. You know, when I started the business, you couldn't have cell phone cameras on site.
Yeah.
It was a tooth-pulling exercise for every customer we had to get approval to start bringing camera crews on.
Yeah.
And then once they start to see the results from that, then they're like, oh, wait a second, can the camera guys shoot our crews too? And then you send us footage. Now every time we come up on a site with cameras, the customer wants the footage for their people. So yeah, times are changing. And to echo what Ryan said, I'm not humble to a fault. I have an ego to a fault. But I think we should just be much more loud, much more proud as an industry. And it starts with it really starts with us. Like, it starts with guys like Ryan.
Absolutely.
Witt's doing his part. There's a handful of people. I'm going to call Julie Lucas out tonight. I don't even know her, but I've followed her. I feel like I know her. Yeah. There are people that are doing their part, but 99% of the industry's not doing their part to be proud. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love that statement, we need to be more loud and proud. And it's like, even to what you said, Ryan, Keaton does that in a honorable and a respectful way. He was talking earlier just about, this is your 5th annual dinner at Better in Our Backyard. And I love your name because it's my backyard that we're talking about. It's your backyard. It's the world that we live in. This industry is it is the most green industry that exists, because the product that you're pulling out of the earth. So you care more than most about the earth and how it's taken care of. So why, 5 years ago you started this, just, while we're sitting here, why?
Well, originally when I started at Better in Backyard, we just had 4 members with us, and one of the business models for associations, if you will, at the time, was to host an annual dinner, whether that was in the fall, the spring, or the summer. And after my first year, I had a tough time getting new members, and so we kicked off our first annual winter dinner where we had roughly 80 people show up. We didn't even charge for tickets. We didn't have sponsorships came in. It just came out of our pockets, and we had a pretty minimal budget at the time. And to attract more members, we had our first dinner. So it wasn't my expectation to grow it into something big like this. And then after our first one, I just put a lot of thought into it. And then when COVID hit, I was very paranoid that Better in Our Backyard would fail, that our funding would be pulled, because, that was before the federal funds came out. And so I wasn't sure what would happen to us because we were relatively new. We'd only been around for a year or two. And so I was worried that funding would be gone. So we pivoted and we started getting really active on social media and started enacting things that I've been thinking about for the last year. And I was lucky that a lot of my funders gave me, the leeway to do that. And then once COVID was done, we had 2 years of really good exponential growth on social media. And then we had our second annual winter dinner where John Cherry was the keynote speaker and Julie Lucas was one of the speakers too. And we had 220 people show up. So it went from 80 to 220. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is pretty cool. And then the following year we had Lucy Crane be the keynote, and we sold out very quickly within 10 days, and we had 300 people come in. And then last year we had Aaron Witt come and speak, and we had over 400. And then this year, obviously, we have Keaton, and we have over 500. And so I would say once we, the year that we had John speak a few years back is when I realized, we could turn this into something big, to the point where now, as an association, we're contemplating doing an expo or a conference.
Yeah.
It was kind of by accident.
Well, it's interesting. I think sometimes that's how it is. We get started and we have this vision of what we think something's going to be, and if you do the work and you work hard, then it's exponential to where it goes. I talk with people a lot in the industry about you can go from a shovel in the ground to the CEO, and it's one of the only, I think the world doesn't realize over the past 50 or 60 years, we've kind of darkened the view on, industry, trades, mining, all of that. And the opportunity that there is there. Keaton, you were just talking earlier about a guy making $250,000 in the mining industry, and so
that's remarkable.
Yep.
It is remarkable, and we need to get that out.
That's
there.
how you build generational wealth, just by working your ass off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just have to say, one of the things, like my craft, everyone has their thing, right? If you're an operator, you have a craft. Your craft is media and how you put all this together and tie a bow on it in a nice, neat package. My craft, I believe, is recognizing talent. It's how I've built my company. It wasn't because Keaton Turner's legit. It's because I've recognized other people that are legit.
Yeah, come on.
I think this guy, Ryan, is a once-in-a-generation talent. I just believe it. He's 31 years old. Look at this event.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't do this. They don't get guys like John Cherry to stand up in front of a room. I'm just a huge fan. He asked me earlier, Ryan, why did I say yes? I'm like, well, I talked with him one time and it was an easy yes. So
Yeah.
Well, not to make this podcast into a bromance, but the feeling's mutual.
If you guys want to move closer together,
too,
feel free.
I appreciate the kind words, Keaton.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Yeah. Well, I think even for people listening, this is the thing that's important. You guys are doing the work, which is going to leave a legacy. People might actually not remember who Keaton Turner is or Ryan. They might not remember who Joshua is, that was my way of just lumping myself in with you guys. But in all reality, the legacy is the hard work that you're doing now. And we are in a time where there is a renaissance coming in the mining industry and the skilled trades industry. And I'm pretty excited for what the next 30 years looks like. I'm pretty excited for what we're going to be able to do. And I think it's really cool. And seeing guys like you, Ryan, and you, Keaton, it encourages me. And we're in this position where we have this ability to have this media and get the story out and tell it in a way that we've never been able to do before. And no one can shut us up about it. I mean, the reality is, if you care about the planet and you care about the lives that we live and you care about the future, then mining in America is where it needs to start. Because we will lead the rest of the world in the way to mine responsibly and to do it in a way that leaves the planet better off for the future. And we already are doing that. So we need to do it more so that we can affect the future. So
couldn't agree more. And I would tell you, the only way we do this little thing you're feeling right now, because it's a 10, 15, 20-year game, the only way we make any difference is by uncovering more talent, young talent like Ryan, and giving them enough motivation and passion to get involved.
Absolutely.
Get vocal.
Absolutely.
We can't, there's too many legit people. There's other young Aaron Witts out there. There's other young Ryans out there that aren't involved.
Yeah.
We got to get them involved.
Absolutely. Well, Keaton, thank you for sitting down with us tonight. I know you're going to be talking tonight.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
So,
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Thanks, Keaton.